All right, so are you ready for this? We're going deep, deep into the future today. And get this, it's looking crazy bright.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've got articles coming out our ears, research papers stacked to the ceiling, and it's all thanks to this guy, Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic. And let me tell you, when it comes to AI, he is one optimistic dude.
See, and that's what's so interesting, right? Because he's not just like ignoring the potential risks of AI. He's staring them down, saying, yeah, those are there, but he doesn't stop there.
Right.
He takes it a step further and says, we can tackle these risks head on. We can actually solve these problems.
It's refreshing, isn't it?
Totally. And what I find so fascinating about his whole perspective is that he truly believes we can build the safeguards, the solutions to make AI this incredible force for good in the world. He sees a future where AI isn't the scary thing, but a launch pad for a radically better future.
Okay, so to make it a little easier to digest, Amodei breaks down his super optimistic vision into 5 key areas. And the first one, get ready for it, is biology and health. And he calls it, get this, the compressed 21st century.
Yeah, the compressed 21st century. It's like he's saying, we're about to take a century's worth of scientific progress and cram it into like 5, 10 years max. Think about it. Cures for diseases that we thought were impossible to crack. We're talking cancer, Alzheimer's, even those super rare genetic disorders. He's saying those could become a thing of the past.
It's wild when you think about it. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that things like CRISPR and mRNA vaccines, they sounded like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. And now look at them. Amodei saying those breakthroughs are just the tip of the iceberg, just a tiny taste of what AI can help us achieve in healthcare.
It's mind-blowing, isn't it?
Absolutely. And here's the thing. He's not just talking about using AI to analyze data faster, though that's a huge part of it. He's talking about AI as this, like scientific partner working side by side with researchers, designing experiments, connecting the dots in the data, maybe even running labs someday.
Can you imagine? You've got AI sifting through mountains of data, pinpointing the exact drug candidate that's going to work, cutting down years, decades even, of research time down to months. Or even crazier, imagine AI personalizing your cancer treatment, tailoring it perfectly to your genetic code. That's the kind of game changer Amodei's talking about.
And that's what I love about this whole compressed 21st century idea. It just captures this feeling that we're on the verge of something massive. But here's the question. Let's say, for argument's sake, that AI does revolutionize healthcare the way Amodei believes it will. How do we make sure everyone benefits? I mean, we're talking about a world where even basic healthcare is still a challenge for so many.
And that's where Amodei's third area of focus comes in, economic development and poverty. And this is where I think his pragmatism really comes through. He's not pretending that technological progress is this perfect equal playing field. He knows it can leave people behind. He's actually emphasizing that we, as a society, have a moral obligation to use AI to lift everyone up, especially those who've been marginalized or left behind.
Yeah, he's basically saying, let's use AI to reshape the economic landscape. And he's not just talking about developed countries, he's talking about the developing world too. Like, imagine AI-powered systems that can figure out the absolute best way to allocate resources so nothing goes to waste. Or systems that can streamline logistics, make sure goods get where they need to be faster, cheaper, more efficiently. And then there's education. He talks about AI personalizing education, making sure every single child has the opportunity to reach their full potential.
And this is where Amodei makes a really cool connection. He talks about how several East Asian economies experienced this huge economic boom in the late 20th century. And he believes AI could be that key ingredient again, but this time, for developing countries, driving progress on a global scale.
So instead of widening the gap between the haves and the have-nots, he's saying AI can help us bridge that gap completely. Now, that's a future worth getting excited about. But it's not just about economics, right? He also talks about using AI to tackle those massive global issues, the ones that keep us up at night.
Exactly. And this is where we get into, well, I think, the really mind-blowing stuff. We're talking about the potential for AI to help us solve things like world hunger, climate change, the big ones.
Now we're talking about AI saving the world, literally. But how? How does he see that actually playing out?
Okay, so picture this. You've got AI analyzing agricultural data, but we're talking global scale here. It's identifying the perfect crops, the best farming practices for every region on the planet, right? It's figuring out how to use resources in the smartest way possible so that we're producing more food with less waste.
So it's like we're giving the entire planet a superpowered green thumb. Is that what you're saying?
You got it. And when we're talking climate change, Amodei really sees AI as this crucial player in developing clean energy, designing smarter, more sustainable cities, even helping us really wrap our heads around the impacts of climate change that we're already seeing. It's about finding ways to mitigate those effects.
Wow. So we're not just talking about adapting to a changing world. We're talking about using AI to actually, like, heal it. Okay, I get why this guy's so optimistic. But here's the thing. AI is not going to swoop in and magically solve everything overnight, right?
You're telling
I
me.
mean, there are going to be challenges, roadblocks, maybe even risks that we haven't even thought of yet.
And that takes us straight to Amodei's fourth big area of focus, peace and governance. And he's not shying away from the tough stuff here. He's very upfront about the fact that AI, at the end of the day, it's a tool.
Okay, sure.
And like any tool, it can be used for good or for, well, not so good things.
So how do we make sure we're using it for good? How do we make sure AI is building a better world and not, accidentally tearing it down?
That's the question, right? The million-dollar question. And Amodei believes that one of the most critical ways we can use AI is to actually strengthen democratic institutions to fight back against authoritarianism.
So you're saying, like, using AI to combat things like fake news, making sure people can actually find real information.
Yeah, exactly. He talks about using AI to build this global information environment that's resistant to propaganda, to manipulation, a world where everyone has access to unbiased facts, different perspectives, the whole nine yards.
Yeah, that feels more important now than ever with so much misinformation floating around.
No kidding. But hold on, there's more. It's not just about stopping the bad information. He also sees AI as playing this huge role in promoting transparency and accountability in government.
What do you mean?
Think about it. AI systems that can analyze government data, the stuff that's already out there, and flag potential corruption, waste, things like that. He even talks about using AI to design more effective policies, policies that are actually fair and equitable for everyone.
Whoa, so we're talking about AI as this like watchdog for democracy, making sure that power is used
Right.
responsibly. I like the sound of that. But I got to ask, what about us? What about the everyday person? If AI gets so good at doing everything, what happens to our jobs, to our sense of purpose? Like if AI is calling the shots, where does that leave us?
You're hitting on something really important here. That takes us to Amodei's fifth and maybe the most profound area of focus, work, and meaning in an AI-driven world. And he's very open about the fact that AI is going to shake things up. The job market as we know it, it's going to change. Some jobs, they'll become automated, some will disappear completely, and there will be new jobs, jobs we can't even imagine yet, popping up.
It's like we're heading into another industrial revolution, but on like warp speed.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Amodei doesn't believe that mass unemployment is some inevitable outcome. He actually thinks that AI is going to free us from the jobs that are honestly kind of soul-crushing, the repetitive tasks, the stuff that leaves us feeling drained at the end of the day. And that's going to open up space for us to focus on the things that really light us up, the creative stuff, the meaningful stuff, the uniquely human stuff.
So you're saying instead of replacing us, he sees AI as like augmenting our capabilities, helping us achieve more than we ever could on our own.
100%. And he says the real challenge isn't going to be a lack of work. It's going to be redefining what work even means in an AI-driven world. Like, he throws out these ideas, right? Universal basic income, where everyone has this guaranteed income, regardless of whether they have a traditional job.
So we're talking about like hitting the reset button on our entire economic system.
In a way, yeah. He's saying we need to rethink things from the ground up. We need to start valuing human contributions in ways that go beyond, just punching a clock. He sees this future where people are finding meaning and purpose in their creative endeavors, in their relationships, in lifelong learning, and giving back to their communities in new and innovative ways.
So it's not just about like surviving in this AI-powered world, it's about actually thriving in it. But how do we get there? I mean, it all sounds amazing, but how do we bridge that gap between where we are now and this kind of future? Amodei's vision, it's inspiring, no doubt, but it also feels a little, I don't know, utopian, like almost too good to be true.
I get it. It's a bold vision.
Yeah.
And he's the first to admit that there's no magic wand, no guaranteed path to get us there. But he truly believes that this is a future worth fighting for, a future where we can use AI to overcome humanity's biggest challenges and create a world that's fairer, more prosperous, and more fulfilling for every single person on this planet.
Okay, I'm sold. Sign me up. But where do we even start?
He's got some ideas about that too. Well, he actually makes this really interesting point. He says the first step is kind of a mental one. It's about shifting our perspective.
Okay, I like the sound of that already. Less heavy lifting.
Right. He's saying we need to stop thinking of AI as the enemy, the thing that's going to take over, and start seeing it for what it really is, which is, a tool, a super powerful tool, sure, but a tool nonetheless.
Mm.
And like any tool, it's how we choose to use it that matters. He believes that if we can do that, if we can approach AI with this spirit of collaboration, with a commitment to using it for good, we can actually steer things in the right direction.
It's like we're holding the steering wheel and AI is the engine. Okay, I'm with you.
Exactly. And he talks about the importance of really baking human values into AI right from the start. Things like compassion, fairness, creativity, all that good stuff. He's saying we need to make those values non-negotiables, build them into the very fabric of AI development. Because ultimately, we don't just want AI that's smart. We want AI that's wise.
So it's about making sure that AI aligns with, like, our best selves, our highest aspirations as humans.
100%. It's about making conscious choices about the kind of future we want to create, being honest about the potential risks along the way, and then, rolling up our sleeves and doing the work. And I don't know about you, but this whole conversation, it's been a wild ride. I feel like we're at this crazy point in history where we have this incredible power, this technology that could literally change everything.
It's a little intimidating, right?
Totally. But it's also incredibly exciting.
I think what struck me the most is this idea that we're not just along for the ride. We're not just passive bystanders in the face of all this technological change. We actually have a say in how this all unfolds. We have a responsibility to shape the future we want to see. I got to say, I'm walking away from this feeling cautiously optimistic. There's a lot of work ahead, no doubt. But just knowing that there are people out there like Amodei, people who are really thinking deeply about these issues, who are dedicated to finding solutions, it gives me hope.
Me too. And, maybe, just maybe, someone listening to this right now, they'll hear something that sparks an idea, something that gets them fired up to take action.
Now, that's a thought, isn't it? That's what it's all about. Well, this has been quite the deep dive, my friend.
It really has.
Dario Amodei, you've given us a lot to think about, that's for sure. And to everyone listening, thanks for coming along on the journey. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.